Hey guys, welcome back. Just like start off a little bit today. I realize I'm not your average YouTuber that goes riding and talks about all the right things all the time, but I just want to show everybody that how badass these machines are. Everybody likes giving them slack for their no suspension and no that and none of this. Well, if you drive them hard enough, they rock. We'll let you know later on how she goes. Alright, we just got back from making a little trip from our favorite store, American Gasser, here in Saginaw. Had to get some fuel. Everybody knows how important fuel is. I found that VP always makes pretty consistent blend, so we're just gonna keep going with that and hopefully it works out. They always got it on hand, so makes it pretty easy. I know a couple of you guys have been asking what is all done to the machine and what we did here and what we did there. I built that cage, me and a buddy of mine. Some people might not like it, but it is almost 6 inches lower than the factory cage. And then I got these seats in here. They're just cheap eBay seats, and our NRG's AV Innovations. If you look close, I'm literally setting about 4 inches lower than stock. So if you can think about your machine here, see where you're at. I mean, my hand covers the top of the seat, so we set pretty low in here. My head normally sets, you know, like right here with the helmet on. So, pretty neat. Works good for my style of driving. So, in here we got the oil temp gauge and oil pressure gauge, which I guess it's not going to turn on because I don't have it activated. But so that is oil temperature and oil pressure. I put that in because this motor is not cheap, and I like knowing my oil pressure. And to do it, right in the where the oil filter goes, there was an adapter I bought. I believe it was from Elba. It had 2 sensors in it, or bungs in it, to where I screwed in both my oil temp and oil pressure gauge. So that works out pretty good. We got a AM AFR gauge right here. Something another thing most people don't have. It is a EGT gauge. Exhaust gas temperature. I can measure each cylinder individually. We've got prongs in each cylinder, right outside the head, just like you would on a snowmobile or anything like that. But all 3 are in there. How accurate is it? I don't know, but I liked it because I tuned this thing by myself. I use FT ECU tuning system, and it works out pretty good for me. It was a pain in the butt to learn it in the beginning, but I think we got it running pretty good now. So, and that's just a cheap, I think it's a Napa boost gauge. That's all she wrote on that end. I did a custom intake. It is literally the factory GYTR kit, like cut up, and a couple pieces of PVC pipe. That gets her shot up here, and then I got a mount, mounted on with a muffler clamp. So it actually works perfect. It is a GYTR turbo system with the 2860 turbo, in case you didn't know that. But what else we got going on here? Oh, my blow-off valve. I got that. That's a tail. I mounted it right into the plenum. So That way there's no boost going after you let off the gas. It's extremely fast. So we ain't overspinning the engine when we're letting off the gas. And in here, one of those is my boost gauge and the other one is my, so that's a 4-prong EGT probe. And my 4th one comes back here and measures my air intake. So I found it actually works pretty good. Keeps it about, 25, 30 degrees, warmer than the actual air. So these things actually work pretty good. I do have an oil, let's see if we can get in here, an oil fan. So there's the oil temperature, and that keeps the oil temps nice and cool. It's a pretty good fan. Got that right from, I believe it was Summit or Jegs, I can't remember for sure. And then the radiator relocate, that's just a Weller bracket kit. I rerouted, see most of the time these, they both come off and they go back over here. Well, I didn't really like bringing the top hose over there, so I rerouted it. She comes back over here and goes straight down into the thermostat. So I do have the extra oil, extra capacity, high flow oil tank. Like I said, I like keeping this thing cool oil, cool temps, makes everything last a lot longer. On the suspension end, we have limiter straps that are set for about 2 inches from full droop, so it never extends the full distance. I don't really like any of that stuff, so I have these are just the stock springs. There's no revolving done or nothing. I just raised them all up here, so the pre-sags raised up. If you have this system, you'll kind of gauge where they're at. And because I'm going to lower it down, we're going to go ice racing with it. So did the same thing up front. I do have a spreader bar that I made myself, because that thing works amazing. It's custom built along with my roll cage here. This plastic piece is literally just setting up against it. Then we're welded in. Boom, that's good to go. And I integrated this bar up here to hold everything nice and steady. It works out pretty damn good. You've seen how big we jump this thing. We've seen how hard we drive it. Nothing's moved, so must be doing something right. What else did we got to go over here? Brand new ITPs, Terra hooks from Duneland. So Duneland up here in Michigan by Silver Lake, they have not only paddle tires, I mean they can get any tire you want. So he sells those pretty cheap and gets them to you extremely fast. I do have an Avenger drive shaft. I don't know if you've seen that earlier. What else? There's a 19 diff in there. It's just a stock 19 diff. And I did build my own. You can see this whole bracket right here. And then it ties around into the frame up top. I blew, so this, I did blow the other rear end, and all I did was blow the carrier bearing. It didn't blow that apart, so I'm thinking this is holding everything pretty darn good, because I got a lot of hole shots on this and she hasn't blown. So yeah, we're getting ready for the, let's see here, we're getting ready for the icemen500. We're just going to race the weekend warrior class, which is 100 laps, or I mean 100 miles instead of the 500. I'm not really into the huge miles and doing all that, so, and it's just too cold. But I think the first year of the weekend warrior class, I think it's going to be a riot. They did make it this year for capable, they were going to do it just stock machine, no turbo, no nothing. And then they decided, because there were so many requirements about it, they were going to do, they let anything go, so you can even run a pro mod in it. So I don't know if you guys know that yet, if you haven't signed up, and if you got a turbo, and if you got a machine that's got a lot of work done to it, you can still sign up and get out there to the weekend warrior class out in Wisconsin. It is a huge deal. It's, I mean, Gold Rush goes to it, Evo's out there. It's a pretty big unit, pretty big deal. So we're hoping we got to get some more graphics put on this thing before we head out there. I got to get some, I think they got to be 10-inch tall numbers, which I think the front, I think them will work, but I wanted to get this thing wrapped, but as things go, time falls short. COVID kicked everybody's asses, so that is what that is. And if you ain't spooling, you're drooling. That's my line. It's trademarked. Gotta love it. We'll see how she goes. I'm gonna get her started up, and we're gonna go out to a local pond this weekend, ride with some buddies, and get some practice in. We'll see you on the flip side. We got the old lady's Jeep tires. I just took those off. She didn't like driving them in the winter. I don't know why. I mean, they're only 12 wide, 35 tall. I think they do awesome, but nope, she didn't like them in the winter. This is the race trailer we're gonna take out there. It's all insulated. It's got heater and stuff in it. So shower, bathroom. Got it pretty cheap last year. Just doing some maintenance on it. Getting it ready for the big icemen trip. Get some new lights on it, checking the brakes over, oil in the hubs. All the fun stuff. We got the kids' little 170 in here. Everybody needs one of these, especially if you got kids. They are a riot. So, alright guys, there you go. Well guys, it's been 2.5 hours and I got one tire done. One stinking tire. Hopefully that'll work out. I was supposed to have enough for all 4 tires with 2,000 studs. I think I went overkill a little bit. I guess we might have to get some more because we want traction. I had a friend of mine tell me that I had to use some Permatex aviation gasket maker. Help screw in the studs. That's what's taking all the time. We gotta dip every one. But hey, hopefully it'll work out for me. Long process ahead of me.